First of all, I want to give the glory to the man upstairs. It was an outstanding performance by the football team. We asked them to do something that was drastic and extremely different, and you can't pull that off without belief. And they put belief in the scheme, and it wasn't all total belief in the beginning, but I told them a story because I moved a lot as a child. I said, when the family is moving in a certain direction and you want to change, you're changing locations, you're changing jobs, there comes a point where the kids crying about their old friends and they don't want to leave, and you're like, get in the car, we're going to go and we're going to leave because we're a family, and that's what we do. We stay together and we don't leave anybody behind. I think they made a movie about it. But they all got on board and we moved in the same direction, and even though we were behind at halftime, there wasn't a doubt in anyone's eye. They still believed, and it was really nice to give them something like that before they graduate, before they move on to run the companies they're going to run, play professional football, or be leaders in their communities and leaders in their home as fathers. So it was good, and it's a feel-good feeling, and the team is back to 5-5. And they're one game away from bowl eligibility. And these young men, I hope, as coaches and players, we can find a way to give them an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done for 20 years around here, and that's back-to-back bowl games with the same head football coach. And I really want that to happen for them. We got to still work. It doesn't mean just because we wish it that it will happen, but I hope the man upstairs grant these young men that opportunity. Questions?
We'll start in front with Emily.
Dino, as you kind of alluded, a very quirky night on offense for you guys. You guys had to do a lot of things you normally wouldn't if you had a fully healthy quarterback. I guess just when in the course of this week did you realize that that was going to have to be the game plan? Like, when was Garrett kind of ruled limited for the week?
You know, it was not, the plan was not based off of Garrett's availability. The plan was based off of we want to be more physical. We've played the game. There's a lot of ways to win a football game. There's a lot of ways to lose a football game. And we've played the game through the air. But I just felt like we wanted to get physical. We wanted to go old school. We wanted to go back 100 years to a 3-0 win, Syracuse versus Pitt in the first game in Yankee Stadium, and see if we could stir up the ghosts and do it in a way that people really wouldn't believe that we could do it. Now, we could have failed, and if we'd have failed, whoa, I know there had been some nice articles written, but I'm glad that you guys have to tear those up and start over again, because I'm really, really proud of these young men.
Valari has been one of the most outspoken about some of this team's struggles and how hard going through these past couple weeks has also been one of the hardest workers, I think, that we've seen on the field, and that certainly showed through tonight. Was there a moment this week where you really saw him step up and kind of take the reins that led you to believe he could have this performance?
You know, I'm not going to completely answer your question. I'm going to go another way, and you can ask it again afterwards. I think when you look inside Garrett Schrader's chest and you pull out his heart, and you look at Dan Valari and you pull out his heart, and then you look at LaQuint Allen and you pull out his heart, and you get those three hearts and you put them together, you have a hell of a beat. And I just feel like that those guys, the way they play the game and the way they inspire others, the way they play the game, if you just give it to them enough, even if you're denied an opportunity to win, if you're going to go down, that's the way you want to go down, because you just feel those are the type of people that you want to rally behind.
Henry?
Coach, you talked about just being more physical.
You got to say a little louder.
You just talked about earlier just about wanting Syracuse to be more physical. Was that just because like you saw Pitt and how they were as an opponent and that need to be physical more, or was it just in general?
I just felt like in this game is so different than any other game, is that when you go in it and you come out of it, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. There's a toughness to this game. And you can win football games throwing the ball around. We've done it. You can do it. You can do it a lot of ways. But there's something about running the football that is what football is all about. And don't get me wrong, winning is that way too. And if you look up my record, I probably run it just as much as I throw it and throw it just as much as I run it. But when you're lost, when you're struggling, you know, sometimes whether you win or lose is not the case. You just want to be in the fight. And we just felt like, you know, like I said, if it doesn't work, it wasn't going to be pretty in here. But, you know, thanks to the man upstairs, it worked out our way this time.
I'll go right next to Wyatt next.
Coach, did you expect Dan Villari to have as many quarterback snaps as he did coming into this game?
Yes.
And what did you see from the other rushers in terms of physicality? I know Villari was super, you know, just head down rushing. What did you see from LeQuinn and from Schrader?
I saw the same thing. Everyone, all those guys have their own style. You saw a play on LeQuinn. I think we call it a forearm flipper, but he hit a guy with a flipper over on their sidelines and then continued driving through his legs. Think about how many times he had the ball, and watch this. I'm talking about LeQuinn Allen again, and he didn't go down. And they had to blow the whistle, and he's still churning his knees. And then you got to remember, I mean, Garrett Schrader is a quarterback, yet he's out there 2.0ing it and doing whatever he can for his teammates because he wears that C on his chest to help them try to find a way
I know
to win one game.
I know Villari had that play sheet on his hand. Was that kind of, you know, did he just have to get used to the offense and calling those plays and knowing what to do in that position?
That was a very difficult thing, and that was something that, you know, a lot of people would say, why do you want to do that? Which is probably the article that would have been written if it didn't work. But, you know, I can't tell you that. Me and Dan had a lot of conversations, and he believed and I believed he could.
Can you pass the mic right in front of you, that front row right there?
Thank you. Just to kind of follow up on Dan, you had him in the backfield a lot. Is that because of the changes that you made, or is that something you guys normally do?
No, it was because of the changes that we made. The one thing you can't do is you can't ask somebody to carry the entire burden. That's a heck of a load when you've got 11 guys targeting you every single snap. You have to divide it. You have to let everyone share the load so the load can be carried. And but those three guys did a nice job.
Christian in front.
Coach, 11 months ago, LeQuinn made his first start for Syracuse here on this field. Since then, how has he evolved both on and off the field?
Well, you know, all the adversity off the field, you know all about that and the way it was handled. And I thought that he handled that in a very mature manner for his age. And I thought that his growth during that period, and then I'm going to use a word that a lot of young people, I'm not quite sure they learn the definition of until way, way down the road, but how patient he was with the system and faith that he had that things would turn out right. That adversity off the football field sharpens a young man, and it changes him. You know, it changes him into something else. And I think he's changed into something. He was good before, but I think he's changed into something that's really dynamite now.
Same thing with Villari. You brought him in initially as a quarterback, but now in this new role as the tight end and maybe even as a wildcat quarterback. How has he changed in terms of adjusting to the new roles he's been given at Syracuse?
I can't wait for you guys to get him up here and ask questions. He wants to go talk to his parents, and he's like, Coach, can I go first? I'm like, Dan, I don't know if they'll let you go first in front of me. I mean, I would let you go up there first. But he's waiting to come in here to talk to you guys so he can go share this with his family, a Long Island guy. But, you know, Dan came here as a quarterback, and we looked at him and we evaluated him, and we thought we had some guys that could do some other things, and asked him to do something that a lot of quarterbacks don't do, is change a position. And I still believe, oh, I love when I say that, I still believe, I'm saying that humbly, that he's going to be an NFL tight end. I really believe he has the ability to do all that. So he believed us. He made the move. But, again, he got hurt, and we didn't have an opportunity. He did not practice in the spring. He did not practice in the summer. He did not practice in August. I mean, we didn't get him until September, and at the time we had OG. So we thought he was good. I believed he was good. I had faith that he was good, but he hadn't done it on the field. So this has been a slow growth. But he is not surprising us. It's just that we had to wait until we saw it on the field, because you just can't make that move on a football team unless the other family members, the other brothers see what we always thought we had. And now everybody's on board.
On that note, to get the guys to their families, we're going to take two more. We're going to go second row middle and then end with Emily in front for Coach.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. When did your team, I guess, believe that this kind of a Pop Warner, Frank Broyles, Veer type offense would work this week? And do you think they even know, like, Pop Warner and Frank Broyles?
You're tickling me because you're saying all this stuff, and all the young people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm sitting there going, how do you know that? This is big time.
Former Veer quarterback.
There's no confusion. There's no filter between us. You're right on top of it. Again, it was a big conversation with the team. Then it was a big conversation with the offense. And then, because they didn't know. I mean, and then when Tuesday, when we're starting to put it in and they're starting to see it for the first time, it's kind of like, But by Wednesday, they started to say, hey, this could really work. But by the time we got on that plane, I would like to think everybody was on board. And the first drive helped. But like I said, at halftime, I still really believe that there wasn't a doubting eye in the room. We were going to go out there and do what we did.
Really quick, quick follow-up. What terminology do you use to have Garrett Schrader, the Z receiver, do a backflip?
We're going to have to add that terminology into our playbook, because as far as I know, we don't have that terminology. So when I see GS, which is what I like to call him, I will definitely ask what signal he got that made him want to do the cartwheel. I haven't even seen it, because I was totally locked in on what the five guys were doing up there with the offensive line, because that was the key part of the offense. But I hear it's gone, what's my word my daughters say, viral? Is that the correct word?
Correct.
Okay, so I've heard it's gone viral, so I guess I'll get to see it when I get done here.
And one question to Emily to end it.
Speaking of Schrader, I just wanted to clarify, did he practice all this week? Because I know he hadn't practiced last week.
You and your practice questions all the time.
It's fair. I want to know how much he was practicing this week.
I would say that he practiced at least more than half the week.
I will take that.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll get to the players here in a second.